Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Dragon Ball Daima Season 1 that I watched on Toonami. So I watched the dub. If you preferred the sub, that's cool. On Crunchyroll and all that. The main thing is, I fucking loved it. Like, this was like, Akira Toriyama saw stuff about GT and was like, you know what? I'ma fucking try this and do it my way. And I like GT for certain kind of concepts that it had out. Alright, like Super Saiyan 4, Pilaf doing his shit with turning Goku into a kid again, even just kind of accidentally. It's just, sometimes it got a little bit messy on what it was attempting to do, and just kind of went balls-ass insane sometimes. This was like, okay, I'm gonna take the core concept of what was going on in here, and do it my own fucking way, and it's refreshing and very interesting that it was able to fuse two kinds of things going on. Original Dragon Ball, with its kind of humor, hijinks, and the utilization of, like, little Goku, and Dragon Ball Z's power scaling and fights and insanity. I know that they're still connected, but they're almost kind of two different shows. They're still fighting and shonen and battles and everything like that in Dragon Ball, but there's a kind of ebb and flow to it that's kind of different than what's kind of going on in Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z, you have more of an emphasis on the fights and the power-ups and things kind of going on. There is certain kind of comedy and everything kind of sprinkled in, but not to the kind of level that you would usually get in Dragon Ball. Now, I haven't watched all of Dragon Ball, or like all of its kind of entirety, so correct me if I'm wrong on that kind of statement, but I usually hear that Dragon Ball has more of the comedic elements, whereas Dragon Ball goes hardcore on the battles and everything kind of going on, because that was the main thing that I watched as I was growing up and was mainly exposed to anime style. This, I had heard good things about it. I was just kind of waiting to see kind of what goes on and what's kind of happening within the series, and I actually preferred it over Dragon Ball Super's kind of like Tournament of Power and everything like that. I liked the introduction of Ultra Instinct and doing different kind of things, all different kind of multiverse and everything kind of elements kind of going on here, going on in Dragon Ball Super. I also liked that kind of going on as well here, but this is more kind of contained. It's kind of some a little bit more simple kind of plot, but that doesn't mean it sucks. It is executed very well. So we get introduced. This is kind of, if anything, it would probably be before Super, I think, is what would be put on if we're figuring out what the kind of timeline is, as we're still going by the timeline of Dragon Ball Z's ending is still kind of in the same kind of realm. And I do like that Goku's outfit kind of, it goes into that kind of transition with a kind of like longer kind of look, almost getting to that kind of blue gi that he has at the end. But it's in between that kind of bit before we get to like Oob and all that kind of stuff. So we see that the Z fighters are pretty much having this kind of party and everything, but we see in the demon realm that we've got the Supreme Demon King Goma and Degasu are looking on like, holy fucking shit, these people beat Majin Buu, and even Majin Buu is like, blah. And we learned that there's like other Majin kind of like termed and everything like that kind of going on. So they're like, all right, I don't want these people coming after my ass. So they decide to crack into our world, take our Dragon Balls, and they learn everything. It's like, oh, 3 wishes? He's like, all right, I'm going to make them into a kid. I'm going to make them into kids. I'm going to find the third eye, all that kind of stuff. It's like, all right, cool. But they summon Shenron, and he's like, I don't know your ass, so you only get 1 wish. Eat shit, fuck boy. And then it was pretty much turning them into kids. Like, fuck, what the hell? And I kind of love that Shenron, like, it's kind of a serious kind of thing, but also a kind of comedic kind of thing. I was like, yeah, I don't know you, bitch. Eat ass. Fuck off. I'll give you 1 wish. What of it? So that turns everybody into babies. Well, pretty much kids. I mean, Goku, Bulma, Vegeta, Piccolo, Supreme Kai, Kibito, Krillin, fucking even Master Roshi. We don't get much comedy out of that one, but I mean, we're focusing mainly on what goes on afterwards. So they decide to abscond with Dende. They have also got their own Namekian, Neva, and we learned throughout this series that the Glind race, which is what Supreme Kai Nahare's name is, he's from the demon realm, and so are Namekians. But Piccolo, of course, doesn't know that because he was born here in this realm. So I was like, yeah, of course. I mean, he's the offspring of King Piccolo. King Piccolo and Kami probably would have known that shit. He wouldn't have. And even though he's kind of like absorbed Kami, I mean, he's kind of like the dominant one. So, I mean, he might have access to certain kind of shit, but he didn't fucking experience it. So, that makes sense. So they kind of buck off, and it's like, ah, shit. They're trying to figure out what's kind of going on before we get introduced to Glorio, who's like, all right, I'm pretty much sent from another king in the demon realm to kind of like get your ass to like take on King Goma. Let's do this shit. And the thing is, they're like, we gotta rescue Dende and everything. So we pretty much get Goku going with Glorio first, and Nahare as well. Bulma stays behind to kind of like fix one of Nahare's old ships, kind of echoing the stuff that they did with Planet Namek, which I like it. It's an echoing, but not a complete like shift for shift kind of shit going on. Like, oh, it's just complete copy and paste shit. No. So, they're doing that. We see the whole thing with this like Sir Warp and everything. Goku just being kind of stupid on certain kind of things, but it's like typical Goku. And I loved who they got for little Goku. Mini Goku, Kid Goku, fits within the realm, fits kind of what I remember with, like, Dragon Ball, and still fits in within the realm of, like, how Goku kind of voiced and all that. So, they kind of get there, they're looking around, seeing what's kind of going on. We see how Goma and the Gendarmerie, his armed forces, are pretty much dealing with all these kind of stuff. We pretty much get an echoing of the Ginyu Force, where he's got, like, this elite corps of soldiers, but, like, our Z Warriors are like, nah, man, sorry. Pretty much just, like, racking them when they get there. But we see that they get introduced to this character, Pansy. And she's pretty much the princess of the one king that Glorio is pretty much kind of like linked up with. But we see that he's kind of working in the background with this other character, Aransu. See, Degusu and Aransu are siblings to Nahare. And Aransu is working in the background to pretty much take over the demon realm herself. Pretty much going so far as to taking bits of Boo and trying to make her own Boos. First getting Majin Ku mixed with the Sabamen, who the Sabamen are linked up to the demon world as well, which was kind of cool to get those little kind of lore drops. Like, oh shit, that's kind of interesting. You would think that would be more of the kind of like Frieza or the Saiyans kind of genetically engineering these things, but nah, they're from the demon realms. Cool. So we see that she makes Ku, and Ku is not really much of a fighter, because we see that they are attempting to use the Dragon Balls of the Demon Realm, which there are 3, and they're guarded by the Tamagami, who are supposed to be uber powerful motherfuckers. So we get Goku going on with it at first, and I really like how we get our escalation, seeing how Goku's able to utilize his Super Saiyan abilities as a kid, and his Kamehameha waves as well, but we see him kind of bash on the first one, while also learning how Goma is an asshole and pretty much taking life force from people and just being a complete and utter dick. But he's able to defeat the Tamagami in combat, but then he has to do a mind, like, there's a mental puzzle as well. Like, okay, you beat me physically, now here's the brain kind of portion, which I really like and kind of echoes up kind of stuff that would go on in Dragon Ball, where, yes, sometimes strength wins out, but sometimes trickery and actually using your brains takes down the bad guys as well. Goku being able to solve the riddle and get the first Dragon Ball. It's like, alright, cool, let's do this. Around that point, we pretty much get that they link up with Pansy's father. He sends off one of his underlings to pretty much get the rest of Goku's crew, pretty much bringing Piccolo, Vegeta, Bulma, and so that way they have more Z fighters to kind of handle on. So they pretty much get into the second demon realm, and that's kind of where they link up with Neva and have to deal with like these Krakens and the second Tamagami, this one being linked up with Vegeta, and Vegeta being able to showcase off Super Saiyan 3, who even at the end is like, it's Ultra Vegeta 1 or something like that. And it's like, oh god, I love that he can't even give that. It's like, no, it's not Super Saiyan 3! You fucking Kakarot! Fucking eat shit! It's like, calm down. But it was really kind of awesome to see Vegeta be able to utilize that form, since he was not shown utilizing it in Z, and it was handled with that big kind of moment. We get these great levity moments of like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? And then we get the fucking badass kind of shit of the fight. And Vegeta had a nice back and forth with the dude before doing that, and then of course having his mental kind of thing, barely kind of scraping by and getting it, and we see that Neva's got his own kind of shit kind of going on in the background. It's like, alright, what's kind of going on? And then them getting attacked by giant hamsters as they're attempting to get into the third demon realm and trying to figure out how to get rid of the kind of barrier between there. And Goku at the end fucking destroys that kind of barrier kind of shit and actually blasts a hole through all 3 demon realms. We also get into the lore of this demon dude utilizing this third eye and making this whole kind of multiverse and everything and kind of expanding, but then seeing that other kind of kings, like King Dabura towards the end, he lost the third eye, which is supposed to give you unimaginable power, and we see that pretty much at the end. And even echoes kind of like Garlic Jr.'s kind of shit because of its regenerative capabilities, which I'm like, I just kind of hit on that. I'm like, oh shit, because Garlic Jr. made himself immortal, so it's really hard to kind of fight that dude. So what do? You punt his ass into a fucking zone. That's not the exact way that it's won out here, but we get along the same kind of lines. So we also see that Aransu is able to get her own Dragon Ball, creating Majin Du, the second kind of one, and she only kind of had a second attempt, more Boo-like, and really into chocolate cookies. Well, chocolate and chocolate chip cookies, so I'm like, alright man, cool. Has a definite same kind of fighting style, more along the lines of skewing a little bit more towards Kid Boo, but still having more of the dominant kind of personality of Good Boo, if that makes sense. I'm trying to handle if it's a kind of copy, but he's not really. It was interesting seeing him trying to copy Goku when he went Super Saiyan 3 in this, with his own kind of hair and shit when they were fighting Goma towards the end. But we see that that's kind of going on. They pretty much get in there. It's they're about to kind of fight for the Dragon Ball. But at this point, Goma figured out that Hybis, the one that was pretty much sent to get Boma and the rest, has the third eye on his belt, and this lady's like, hey, can I have your that belt thing? It's like, sure, if you give me your hat. It's like, alright, fine. Goes pretty much gets plenty and shit, and then Goma's super jacked as shit when he's got the eye there, and then building his own kind of arena, as we see that he's able to pretty much take on the Z Warriors very effectively. We also see some interesting kind of stuff with Glorio, who's been working as an undercover agent pretty much for Aransu, but is feeling kind of bad about it. We see him kind of fighting Goku and understanding in the beginning of this season that he understands Goku's kind of power and what he's attempting to kind of do, and feels kind of bad for it, even to the point where we get the Dragon Balls. He decides to betray Aransu and instead wish for everyone to be back to normal, because we see them rescue Dende. We see Degasu pretty much captured, and we see the Z Warriors having a very hard time trying to defeat Goma. Neva doing a kind of thing that makes it look like he somehow did some kind of power infusion to Goku to get him to Super Saiyan 4. And I really like this take on Super Saiyan 4. It's still design-wise kind of similar, but it's got its own kind of flourishes. Goku's hands and forearms are vastly bigger. He fights more in a kind of animal... more monkey style. I wouldn't say... I was going to say animalistic, but it's more of a, he's serious, but he does it, going around more like a monkey and doing that kind of stuff like that. What the fuck's going on here? And at the end of this series, we see that Goku, after fighting Buu, somehow unlocks Super Saiyan 4, but we don't get the exact understanding and explanation of that, as he's kind of saying, hey, good thing that you got Super Saiyan 3. He's like, and it's like, huh. I'm like, I would like to learn about that sometime, because at first I thought it was something with the demon realm or getting infused with demon energy or whatnot, but no, evidently Neva just kind of powered up Goku, even using the Tamagami to help out in fighting Goma. But the thing is, even though Goma doesn't know how to fight very well, you see him in his first form, it's yeah, he doesn't know what the fuck he's gonna probably do. Then he's this big jack motherfucker, yeah, just because you got that shit doesn't mean you know how to use that shit. We see that the main kind of thing that helps him is that he regenerates pretty much almost after dying, similarly to kind of if you beat the fucking shit out of a Saiyan and are stupid enough to let them live, they're gonna come back stronger and beat the fucking hell out of your ass, but in a more kind of condensed kind of time frame. I do like seeing that Vegeta utilizes Super Saiyan 3, and we see that he could pretty much take this dude out. However, it's the eye that kind of throws everything off. And all of our warriors, there's a nice back and forth showcasing of different kind of power sets and everything. The Final Flash is utilized, the Gallic Gun, the Kamehameha, but these are done in such a way as to not be overutilized and instead give them their due. Like Goku's Super Saiyan 4 Kamehameha at the end when he blasts a hole in Goma is fucking insane, showcasing off the kind of ferocity that he is able to utilize with Super Saiyan 4 and what kind of goes on with that. So at first he Super Saiyan 4s as little Goku, and then he Super Saiyan 4s as adult Goku, echoing what he does with Buu, showcasing off his forms and letting it fucking thunderously rip, and just seeing Goku even talk with the rest of the guys, because at first, well, the rest of the fighters, and be like, listen, we gotta do this together. Because Goku, more likely than not, if he's got an idea of what he needs to do, he will do it by himself. Here, when he understands, like, this was a nice evolution of Goku, of like, I understand that we need to take this motherfucker out. I'm not gonna sit back on my pride, like Vegeta, and we gotta take him on. So we pretty much have Ku utilized to go through this book and understand that they have to do 3 quick hits in succession at the back of the person's head that's got the third eye to crack the eye off. Goku, they're almost able to do it. They get 2 good ones in, but the Goku is pretty much like, he blasts a hole that goes through the demon realms, and then Goma's like, what the fuck, man? He's like regenerating and shit, and then we get Ku popping up with the book, and does boop, boop, boop. It just fit with the thing. I'm like, that's so good. Like, it's stupid, but it works, because he isn't really a fighter. He's more of a tactical kind of thinker dude, and pretty much becomes the Supreme Demon King, making people ministers and like looking at everything, and I was like, maybe this is kind of weird that like the person who should have been Demon King, who's actually competent, actually won out on this. He was actually going to give the Z Fighters like minister roles as well, and they're like, just send us home, we're good. And he's like, yeah, if we ever need help, we're going to call you guys. And it's like, yeah, sure. And it's kind of cool because we see that Glorio kind of got like beat up and was like wrestling with the fact and everything, but like the rest of the, like, Goku didn't have any hard feelings. It's like he did the right thing in the end. Yeah, you were kind of trying to help out Aransu, but then she's like, yeah, I got ambitions and shit, and she's like, but evidently the person that defeats the Supreme Demon King becomes the next Demon King, and that's why we got Majin Ku and everything. And I did like the battle between Goku and Majin Buu, and even at the end, after they were done fighting, they were fine with each other. Like, I mean, typically that would kind of go on as well. But it was just like, yeah, okay, I don't need to fight you anymore, because Aransu, it was just what he was told to do. And them kind of getting back and everything and just seeing everything kind of back to normal was just really kind of cool. I mean, on their way back, they also learned that there are more third eyes at this one place that Goku got these revive bugs, because they were like, he got them in their kind of beginning quest and everything, and then he's like, yeah, we kind of need these because our sensu beans are kind of low in our world, and sees that, oh yeah, I got like a lot of those fucking things. I sold one like eons ago, whatever, and everyone was like, what? It just was so well executed comedy-wise on what kind of goes on. Like, they understood the assignment, and they just nailed it. Like, you could, if you were really much a Dragon Ball fan, you would probably be able to like peg it's like, all right, let's see this here. It's gonna be a weird kind of way, like Krillin beating this one enemy who's stinky as shit that would like knock people out with his odor. He doesn't have a fucking nose, so Krillin's able to beat the fucking shit out of it. like that kind of thing. That's why we get Majin Buu as the Supreme Demon King. That's why we learn that there are more third eyes. It's like, oh my god, this was like a fucking realm ending kind of thing. It's like, oh yeah, I got those fucking things, whatever. It's like, wah! It's just great. And the art and the animation and just everything that goes on just works so well. Like, I really love the designs of like Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4 Goku. It just fucking nails it. And I do like that we had magic kind of utilized here, like with how Glorio utilizes his lightning and everything as a different kind of fighting style. Because the Demon Realm, it should have its own kind of unique flavors, and they nailed it putting that in there. Doing the right things that you need for the Dragon Ball Z portions of this. I just was very happy with this. I'm like, 20 episodes. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't feel too short. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of filler. There's a nice ebb and flow. It's a tightly crafted season. I know this was like one of the last things that Akira Toriyama did, and I'm like, God damn, you went up fucking swinging like ain't nobody's business. So, I don't know if there's going to be a second season. That's why I kind of did Dragon Ball Daima Season 1 as the review title. If they had any good kind of like things to keep going with this, I would be fine with it. But I don't need it because I think it just ended very well. We had our story. We had our heroes doing their things. We can have other kind of quote-unquote spin-off kind of ones that could like explore Super Saiyan 4 or whatnot. And anything kind of like to that kind of realm. It's really rare where you can lift up a thing and be like, listen, this is a great season. I would be fine if there was more, but I'm fine if there isn't. That's a rare thing, and I'm like, that's what I feel. Now, if you feel that you need more, or you feel like this was a complete and utter shit show and that you fucking hated it, I get that. I truly do on both kind of views. I just really liked it, and I would definitely recommend it to Dragon Ball fans and Dragon Ball Z fans and those that are kind of both. I'm kind of more the both kind of ones. If you don't like Dragon Ball Z for some of the kind of excesses that it does as a Dragon Ball fan, I think you would have more fun with this because it doesn't kind of go completely into those excesses. And if you're more on the Dragon Ball Z kind of front, which I kind of would be more too as well, you get those epic action moments and those epic kinds of attacks and everything kind of going on and the transformations and all that, which I think you would be able to enjoy even if you're not that much into the comedy aspects of what kind of goes on. So those are my opinions on the season. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.